Hello everyone, welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me and happy Monday. Finally, after I think 2 weeks, it seems like I always have an excuse why I haven't filmed this, but I broke my auto cue, which I read from. I changed my lighting recently, so I had to change the backgrounds and things weren't quite working, and I'm very fussy with what I put out, so I wasn't going to put everything out until things were perfect. It's still not perfect. The background doesn't look so great at the moment, but I will fix that. Anyway, you know what I need to do? Okay. Ow. So welcome back. If this is your first time joining me here on a Monday is where I tell my subscribers ghost stories that they send in to me right here. I read them out and create a look based on a way to die. And it's usually a ridiculous way to die. But if you have any ghost stories, video footage, if you want to tell me your story, record it, send it over, film yourself, then you can absolutely do that and send it here to this email address. Ghosts, aliens, just weird people, any weird experience you have had, send it over and hopefully I'll get around to reading it at some point. I don't know what's happening with my mouth today. I shaved around these areas and it looks like I'm having some kind of herpes outbreak. I've never had it. No, not that I know of. So, true story. I saw some cows is the true story. Here's how I died. I saw some cows and I was like, these cows are so cute. I love them. Let me kiss one on the mouth. Just like a little, like you would, Anyway, I didn't realize that this cow was possessed by the popular cow demon. So then, as I went to go kiss him, he just started biting my face until I was fully dead, fully consumed. I'm not going to stick to black and white because I'm going to use this matte about hue palette from Colourpop, which I got today. I actually have some Colourpop bits. I receive a PR from them, what feels like every single week. I forget I have a discount code for them, which I think is Robert or Robert10. I can't remember. It's down below for you anyway, with my other things. So I was like, let me actually use some of these products. So we're going to do a colourful kind of cow print. Actually, you know what I need to do? I might need to do my concealer first. So I'll do that. And yeah, let's just go. So our first story today is called Ghost Nun. Hi, Robert. You are awesome. Thank you so much. Back in the 80s, my sister rented a small studio apartment in an old New York City brownstone. I went to visit her sometime after she moved in. While I was showering there, I definitely heard what I thought was my sister come into the bathroom, turn on the faucet and start washing her hands, whispering to herself. I thought the whispering was weird, so I asked her a question, but there was no answer. Instead, someone slapped the shower curtain so hard it startled me. I immediately pulled the curtain back far enough to say hey or make a joke, but the bathroom was empty and there was no one there. I looked towards the living room. It's easy to see most of the apartment from the bathroom, and it was completely empty. The water was still running hard, so I turned it off. I went cold and thought I was going to faint. I remained frozen in that bathroom until my sister really did come back. Turns out she had run out for an errand while I was getting cleaned up. I described what happened, but it turns out it had never happened to her before. I found out later the building was once a retirement home for nuns, many of whom died there. The experience upset me so much, I was unable to shower with the shower curtain closed for a long time. Yeah, listen, showering anyway with there's certain showers which are absolutely fine, like against the wall in a corner with glass, but when there's a shower curtain or when you have to have your back to the door, there's something really terrifying about those kind of showers, And then to have an experience like that would 100% make me not scared to shower again, because you would have to, for hygiene. But I would be scared to shower with the door shut or a shower curtain. There's something scarier about shower curtains than just a regular shower. Showers aren't scary. You know what I'm trying to say. Some of you are probably thinking, Robert, I thought you were a cow. Why are you doing purple? And I'll tell you why. Colourful cow. Remember, colourful cow. Okay, so our next story is called Knock Knock. Hey Robert, I just want to say thank you for your channel. You are wonderful and I'm learning so much from you. Thank you. I've also now become addicted to watching on Mondays for the ghost stories, though I really need to stop watching them right before I go to bed. Good idea. I thought I'll share one that isn't completely terrifying like a lot of the stories you receive seem to be. When I was very young, Myself, my brother, and my parents moved in with my grandfather so he wouldn't be alone. After my grandmother died, we fixed up the basement into a nice little apartment for him. It was super fun since he was an amazing guy. I look back on the year he took us to Disney World for the very first time as one of the best years of my childhood. And whenever I smell burnt popcorn, I think of him because the man just failed at making popcorn so heroically. He kept to himself most of the time, but whenever he would come upstairs, he would knock on the kitchen counter and say hey to let us know he came up. Fast forward to when I was about 11 or 12, he ended up having a heart attack and passing away in the house. A few months later, we were in the living room watching TV, and I heard a knocking. We couldn't figure out where it came from, and one of us joked that it was my grandfather, but it kept happening. A knocking coming from the kitchen with no apparent cause. Eventually, whenever we heard it, we would smile and say, hey Papa, because it was so nice knowing that he was still there and watching over us all. That's cute. That is so cute. I hope it was him. No, I believe it was him. Okay, I'm about to draw some cow print on my face, so we'll do that. So we have an audio story up next, and this is called Do You Want to Go Play? Oh, I bet it's a child ghost. Okay, here we go.
Hi, Robert. I hope you're doing well. I love all your videos, especially these creepy Makeup Monday videos. Keep up the amazing, amazing work. I've had a lot of paranormal experiences in my life, not just me, but my entire family as well. I'd like to say we're pretty much, for some reason, very open to that side, the paranormal side. I'm not sure why. And we also have a lot of skeptics in our family as well that they can't even deny the things that have happened. Me in particular, I've had so many strange occurrences, starting from when I was extremely young. However, this particular story that I'm going to tell you today has probably been the one that has affected me the most and the longest. So when I was younger, my mom, my older brother, and I lived in this kind of small apartment. It was 2 bedrooms. My mom had the master bedroom, and my brother and I shared the other room. This apartment was extremely haunted. And when I say that we had the strangest occurrences, that's not even enough to describe it. I always felt a presence, and it's not just me, my mom and my brother as well. One night, when I was around 8 or 9 years old, I remember it was a school night, and I was having a lot of trouble falling asleep. I was just tossing and turning all night long. I remember my brother was fast asleep in his bed, and my mom was across the hall in her room, fast asleep. Now, the way my bed was set up it was a twin bed, and it was against the wall. And my brother was also a twin bed against the other side of the room where the other wall is. The way I used to sleep was on my side with my back towards the wall that my bed was against and my face facing the open space of the room. I just never could get myself to sleep on the other side of my body where my back would be facing the open space of the room and my face would be towards the wall. I couldn't get myself to ever sleep that way. And maybe that's just human instinct. We can't have our backs towards a huge open space without feeling a little bit creepy or paranoid. Anyways, so I'm tossing and turning, unable to fall asleep. I finally told myself, let me just face the wall. What if I'll fall asleep in that position? So with that in mind, that I have school tomorrow and I really need to go to sleep because I'm going to wake up early and be so tired at school if I don't. And also always feeling like I was being watched in this apartment. I was really conflicted, but I finally mustered up the courage. I turned around, I faced the wall, and my back was facing the rest of the room. All of a sudden, I feel a very hard and aggressive tap on my shoulder. It was a few taps, very hard and aggressive taps on my shoulder from a finger. And a voice followed saying, hey, do you want to go play? Actually, no, wait, Robert. It said my name. It said, hey, Xana, you want to go play? At that point, I immediately turned around in a panic. And of course, nobody was behind me. And there's no way I could have imagined it because I felt the taps and I heard them and they said my name. I just remember yelling for my mom, and she came frantically running in a panic into my room. And I told her what happened. And then I remember her and I going and sleeping in her room that night. But yeah, that's only one of the very many scary paranormal occurrences I've had in my life, especially in this particular apartment we used to live in. Till this day, I can't sleep on my side with my back facing like any open space anymore. It freaks me out. I always feel like it's going to happen to me again. And I don't know why it touched me. Why did it touch me, Robert? Why? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I have so many stories where that came from, and hopefully I get to tell them to you again, or I'll be able to tell them to you soon. And I hope you enjoyed. Okay, bye. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. That is terrifying. Why does it know your name? Why does it have to say your name? That's the thing as well. Like, if it was just like a general ghost, you'd be like, oh my God, they're living there, out there, like ghost life. But when it says your name... Right, let me get these splotches on because I'll never be able to do it reading. Okay, we're back and I'm a cow. I've done little patches and I'm just going to go over with some powder on top just to make them a little bit more... Do I? I don't know. Maybe just a few. Okay, so our next story is called... Let me find it. So the next story is called A Demon-Possessed Kid Showed Up to My Husband's Show. Hey Robert, I love your videos. I've been homebound, struggling with chronic illness, and your makeup videos have been a great joy and distraction from my struggles, so thank you. Thank you so much. I have had several spooky supernatural encounters over my lifetime, but none as freaky as this one. This isn't a ghost story per se, but it's demonic, terrifying, and 100% true. When my husband told me this story, it shook me to my core. Portions of the encounter were actually caught on video too, but I couldn't even bring myself to watch it until years later. My husband Kevin and I are born-again Christians. When we met, Kevin was touring with his Christian metal band. My husband's band actually had a good-sized fan base, and they toured and collaborated with some bigger names in the scene at the time. This specific tour, they played across the Pacific coast, and this encounter took place at a really small venue in a small town in California. My husband's band was the only Christian band to play that night. Before they played their set, Kevin decided to take a walk outside. Right outside the venue, he saw a small crowd of people surrounding a young boy who looked like he was having a seizure. Looking back now, that's a hallmark sign of demon possession. My husband was concerned, but stood back because people were already calling 911 to get this kid some help. But soon, the boy started snarling and trying to bite people, and trying to bite the people kneeling next to him. What happened next, my husband said, was like what you see in the movies. This boy flipped over and was crawling on his back on all fours, contouring in ways that are completely unnatural. His voice changed, his eyes darkened. Kevin knew this was demonic and called some of his bandmates outside to start praying over this young man. As the band surrounded him and began to pray, the boy got really angry. This boy began scratching, hitting, and punching anyone he could reach. This was a small, slender kid that at the point even managed to pick up Kevin's almost 7-foot friend by his neck. When they asked his name, the boy responded in a deep, inhuman voice, Legion. This boy was quoting the Bible and speaking in different languages. I mean, who speaks Latin anymore? As the band prayed for him, he would fall to the ground at the mention of Jesus' name. The praying continued for a while until the boy jumped up and began running. Concerned for the kid's safety, my husband and a few of his buddies ran after him. The kid led them down a few streets to an alleyway between a church building when he climbed the spiked fence and tried to impale himself with the spikes. Luckily, my husband and his friends were able to pull him down. The kid began demanding that my husband look him in the eyes. Freaky, right? They didn't look in his eyes, but held him there until the ambulance showed up. As soon as the paramedics got there, my husband said the boy's voice, eyes, and demeanor completely changed back to normal, and he was super confused. The boy was picked up and put in the ambulance, and my husband had to play an entire show after that. Later after their set, the band asked around about the possessed kid. The scene was really small in that town, and almost everyone who goes to these shows knows each other. Well, no one knew who that kid was, and no one had seen him before. And not only that, but the boy showed up wearing my husband's band's merch. We never found out who he was, and never saw him again at any other shows. Truly terrifying. Yeah, that's truly terrifying. What the hell? It's like he aimed for your husband, was like, this is gonna happen to your husband. I'm gonna do this right here at a show. Very strange, and I can imagine it must be very weird to witness something like that. Okay, so for my lips, I'm gonna take a nude from this In the Nude. Colourpop are good at having little sets like this, so really good value. I'm gonna take one of these. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna keep these here. This is good. So we have some TikToks now. Oh. Really nice. Oh my god. Okay, let's take a look at some spooky TikToks. Which way do I face usually? This way, right?
Like 10 minutes this went on. And I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, you're looking at your cat.
No, somebody just walked through my kitchen and Bobby freaked out. Did you see him run?
I saw it, yeah.
He's still sitting there looking at it. And his tail is
Yeah, I saw his tail.
Is the person still there? Bobby, you okay? I don't know. It still feels really weird in here, but I only saw that for a second. That's also the same direction that when you said that there were. Oh my god, it's Brendan. He's outside now. Thank God. Brendan? No, he's not. Stop, Amanda. No, it's not. No, he's not. There is not. Literally.
Wait, how'd your door just open?
No one's out there.
Was it just me? Was that cat being stroked? And then something just left? Okay, let's look at the next one. Sounds a bit dodgy to me because that handle is very loose anyway. And I don't know if there was a handle on the other side. Well, there has to be able to get in, right? But someone could, if it's that loose, someone could easily stick their finger through one of those holes and tap it, and it would move a lot. Anyway, let me finish this up so we can have a finished cow look. Okay, well, this is my finished, killed and eaten by a cow, but still wanted to keep it colourful. Look, thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any ghost stories, weird stories, paranormal experiences, or just weird experiences, you can share them right here on this email address. Please don't send them to me in a message on Instagram or any other social media platform. Please only send them to this email address. You can leave them below in the comments if you just want other people to read them, if you don't want them to be read in one of the actual videos. But if they're sent to my email, then I can get them through them properly. So yes, thank you so much again. And again, sorry for skipping. I think it's been 2 weeks now. I will see you not next week, but it's 2 weeks time basically. Thank you. Bye.